And we are live. We apologize for the delay, but this is the last word part of the Behind the Turnbuckle universe. And we got a lot to talk about tonight in the world of pro wrestling. Monday Night Raw just ended as Bron Breaker, once again, the Intercontinental Champion for Monday Night Raw. But I don't do this show by myself. All of you are coming into the chat a little bit late. You're there. But my partner, and we're presented as always by my bookie. Use that promo code BTT, there he is, Big Tommy C, not just of BTT fame, but now part of DTL fame, and the man who predicted live on the air that the Yankees would make it to the big series. Tommy, is that brand? Do you just order that off of Fanatics?
I just got this the other day, October ready, and we are October ready. You know why? Because we're in the Fall Classic, baby.
I knew you were going to be insufferable tonight, but that's okay. That's all right. Here's the deal, Tommy. You guys got to go all the way to L.A. You got to go all the way to Dodgerland. And if you don't pay Juan Soto, I apologize. My earpiece is killing me. If you don't pay Juan Soto close to what Shohei Ohtani is getting, I don't know what else you want this guy to do.
Yeah, I agree with you totally, Coach, on that one. Hal better bring up the big bucks. This is a generational player, and if it wasn't for him, they might not be at the Fall Classic.
Yeah, you're very, very true. All right, so Tommy's happy. I'm unhappy, but guess what? I've done worse than trying to get through a show with a bad earpiece, so we'll be just fine. As you guys come into the live show, please go ahead and hit that live button. It really helps the show grow. So, Tommy, we got to start right from the beginning. Apparently, I am one resignation away from getting my job back on Monday Night Raw, because apparently that's what's happening these days. Today, shocked the world that Samantha Irvin, who's a fantastic talent, ring announcer, whatever you want to call her, she's resigned immediately. And who do they bring back? None other than the person, Tommy, that I started one day after. In 1999, Lillian Garcia is back in the ring tonight. I was shocked. You?
I was shocked too. And by the way, yours truly right here was the one that discovered Lillian Garcia years and years ago, back when you just said 1999, back in the day in Miami. And now she's back. I can't believe it.
I can't either. And I don't want to disparage it. Good for her. No. I like Lillian. I introduced her to one of her husbands. So me and her have a real history, But my goodness, there are so many talents out there right now. For them to decide to go back to her, you know what, Tommy? I have my theory. I've read all the social media today, and I have my theory on what's happening with Samantha Irvin and what they're ultimately going to do. Do you want to hear it?
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Producer man, I need my one shot right here. So I did a little bit of digging. I thought about the history of certain women walking away shockingly, without any notice. And most of the time, they are pregnant. So my prediction is that Samantha Irvin, and I also coupled this with the fact that Ricochet, who's her fiance, she's getting married in Vegas in a very short period of time. And he came out a couple hours ago, Tommy, and he said that she is not coming to AEW. You can let that go to rest. Because that was the easy, lazy narrative. So I believe that. And again, I do not know this to be true, but this is my gut. She is pregnant. She wanted to take time off before she has the baby, and I hope that she is. But nobody told me this. And then, Tommy, they will go out and get either, because Lilian is not going to be back for an extended period of time. Let's stop that right now. Right. It's going to be either Kayla Braxton or, here's a blast from the past who was amazing, JoJo. So either JoJo or Kayla Braxton come back to be the full-time ring announcer for Monday Night Raw. Tommy, what do you think about that theory?
Wow, that is a crazy theory. Kayla Braxton coming back or JoJo? Wow, I would think they would bring like Mike Rome back, but I think he does NXT or whatever, or maybe just bring somebody in new. But that's an interesting observation. And as you know, on this show, folks, we've been right more than a couple of times on what's going on in the wrestling world.
Exactly. I think I'm right. I really do. And full disclosure, I've never met Samantha. I've never met Ricochet. I don't know anybody that knows them. This is just full disclaimer. This is the coach predicting, but I think I'm going to be right, Tommy. By the way, how does the new microphone sound tonight? Tell me, the brand new mic. Does it sound good?
You sound money, Coach, as usual. Money, man, money.
I feel like it is. Even muffled, it sounds good. All right, so Tommy, so we're past the ring announcers, and let's go from the ending backwards, because a lot of people in the chat are talking about, user said, Jay had a great 3-week reign. You never see a title like that change hands so quickly. Why do you think they decided that after Jey Uso had that emotional win a couple of weeks ago, and now tonight with all that interaction, interference with the bloodline showing up, having tickets in the front row, and all of a sudden Bron Breaker once again is the Intercontinental Champion? I was a little shocked by that.
I was shocked by it too, but I think it's all going to lead back to the OTC right now. He needs help, and the Yeet Man doesn't want no help. But now that this happened and Solo was part of the demise of Jay being the IC champ, I think it's all going to lead back to him joining forces with Roman and his brother, and there's going to be a match at Survivor Series. OTC, Roman, and Jay, and the rest of the boys going against the new bloodline.
I think if you're going to add a big name to a team, this is a really good way of doing it. And also, Tommy, have you noticed that clearly Triple H and the entire writing staff and the entire executives at WWE are watching behind the turnbuckle? And I am not kidding about that, because now all of a sudden you've got players, you've got guys showing up on each show, SmackDown guys on Raw, SmackDown guys. You got promos of Cody calling out Gunther for this Friday on SmackDown. So all the, God, I hope this is the case, the days of being on one show, isn't it a lot nicer to see the bloodline show up tonight and they're all of a sudden Breaker, there's Fatu, and now people in the chat are saying, how about Fatu against Bron Breaker? Those are things that we want to see, Tommy. Yes. And now apparently we can see them.
Yes, and it just improves the product, Coach, because you never know. Anything could happen at a WWE event, a TV show, anything. Now you give that to everybody. Now that you see people are crossing over, and I know Crown Jewel's right around the corner and stuff like that. But if this continues, I will love it, Coach. I'm a big fan, as we talked about.
Brian, real quick, says, is this on YouTube? If it's not working on YouTube right now, go to my social media, go to my Twitter page, and I am streaming it live on the Twitter page right now, and you'll be able to watch it there. But we've got a great live number, so it looks like it is working. Rich says, I don't like the brand split anymore. Rich, neither do we. When you have, and Tommy, I don't care what Triple H says. If he was sitting here right now and we were interviewing him, he would say, oh, no, we've never had a deeper roster. And then he'd get into the NXT situation. Oh, we got it. No, you don't have the deep enough roster. And Tommy, it just came out that SmackDown is going to go to 3 hours in January. And did you hear today that Netflix is going to go 3 hours for Monday Night Raw, but they could change the length of time from week to week, depending on how much content they need to get into the storylines? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yep. It's because it's a streaming service. It's not like a hard out where you got something airing on USA Network, some reality show, some other show that's 11 o'clock hard out. Now on a streaming service, they could do what they want, Coach, and it could go 3.5 hours. Who the hell knows? It'll be very interesting to see when it first starts out how it's going to be. I don't hear you, Coach.
Because I hit it's a new mic. If I hit it on the back, see this little line right here? I'm learning, Tommy. You hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm learning now. We got these high-powered mics. You know what I mean? By the way, shout out to Nate. He says, Coach, great showing on Piers. We'll talk about Piers Morgan in a second. Tommy, I thought going to Netflix would be an unbelievable positive. But internationally, which you ran the international TV department for a long time, they're also going to carry SmackDown internationally. USA only has it in the United States. So if we're going to go 3 hours on a streaming service that as of yet does not have commercials, that only screams one thing. If people thought they were going to get Netflix and Monday Night Raw without commercials, they can think again, Tommy. They can think again. This thing is going to have tons of commercials in it, and it's going to be the next business way for Netflix. And I think this is the whole reason they got into this. Then they're going to get into live sports. And then I think they should take a new long drive tour that I may or may not be involved in, but that's for another discussion. But Tommy, I don't agree with it. But this is all about this right here, as you said.
Yeah.
This is all about how do we make more and more and more, but let's not worry about the storytelling. Tommy, they don't have enough for 6 hours a week.
No, they don't, Coach. And Netflix is going to do all they can to make money. They're going to sell those commercials. They know that the commercials are they're going to get top dime for it because this is a new venture on Netflix and new for WWE. And you know this WWE is going to promote the hell out of this on Netflix and just put them over big time. And that's how they sell their advertising time to make money back, Coach, because they're paying WWE a lot of money for a license fee every year.
Yeah, you said it was always going to have commercials just like Hulu and Max and Peacock with the live sports. They did not announce that at the beginning. What I thought they would do, Tommy, is for people who watch it on demand, because when you pay this much money, I thought they would raise the price, meaning, what is it now, $12.99?
Yeah,
I thought they would raise it to like $14.99 or $15.99. That's how you compensate for the commercial money. But clearly, they'll probably do that, and they'll have commercials, right?
Yep. Definitely commercials in the show. And they're in 80% of the world, so everybody's going to be watching. Everybody's going to be buying that streaming service, and they're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Jared says 15 it is, Coach. There you go. I mean, it is. Yep. And for all the fans who complain about it, even if your voice gets loud enough, I don't know if you guys all saw this, but I watch all the business aspect of this, Tommy. And on CNBC a couple of weeks ago, they talked about going from 300 live events down to 200. And in the same breath, their COO said, hey, our live events and our TV events, they're selling out too quickly. That's a clear sign that we're not charging enough for our tickets. I've never heard such an idiotic take in my life. So what about all the people watching us right now? They have a family of 4. Now you're going to raise prices to what? $1.50 a ticket? Now to go to Monday Night Raw, it's going to cost you $600 plus food, or to go to a live event, tickets are the same price. Yeah. Tommy, they're going to price themselves out at some point.
It's ridiculous. And that was one thing that the old regime always thought of, was taking care of the guy with the 3 kids and the wife and wanting to take them to a live event or a pay-per-view, or trying to streamline to keeping the prices where you'll be able to afford to take your family of 4 and buy them a souvenir or whatever, any kind of merchandise. Now with Shapiro and the other guys in there, they don't care. It's all about the almighty dollar.
Yeah. Question from the chat. Danny Boy says, didn't Triple H leave WCW at the time because WCW didn't do many live events and he wants to work a lot of events and matches? No, that wasn't really the case. I will say this. A lot of the guys that got the big money, Danny, back in the day, the Hulk Hogan's, they didn't have to work live events, and that's why the money didn't match up. And that's why paying these guys millions and millions of dollars, eventually they went out of business, because they didn't have that live events. When I was in the WWE, Tommy, we did 8 live events a week. So you're talking about a $400,000 or $500,000 house. So you're bringing into the company, let's just say conservatively, an extra $2 million a week. That's an extra $100 million a year just for live events.
Yeah,
that's big business that they're just leaving on the table, that now they're going to take 100 of those away.
It's huge business, and that was the theory of Vince and everybody, all the higher-ups back in the day, was the lifeblood of this company is the live events. TV tapings are different. Raw and Smackdown and the pay-per-views are different. But the lifeblood of the company, he used to say, was the live events during the week. People going to see the Raw brand or the Smackdown brand or combination back in the day. That was the lifeblood of WWE, live events.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When I got in the ring, that's how I learned. I had matches when the TV cameras were not on, and some of them were not that nice. Some of them were not that nice. All right, let's get back to Monday Night Raw. You're watching the Last Word, part of the Behind the Turnbuckle universe. By the way, on our social media, if you guys have not entered yet, we have a big giveaway for the brand new boxing game, Undisputed. Our boy Todd Grisham, he used to be in the WWE. He's the voice of this. He's part of the executive board of this company and this game. So I called him up and I said, hey, give us a couple. So we have 3 different giveaways, 3 different brands. Sign up here, 1 for PS5, 1 for Xbox, and we're going to give it out to a couple of lucky winners, and it's an incredible boxing video game. All right, Tommy, let's get back to Monday Night Raw because I'm kind of digging the Judgment Day and the different things they're doing. You know who I'm not digging, and maybe I'm picking it apart? Rhea Ripley needs some depth to her character. It is the same thing, walk out, same face, all black. There's nothing different about it. And I'll actually give Liv, and then at least they're trying something different. But did you notice, and maybe this was an intentional mistake, Lillian announced Liv and her with Dom, and there was no Dom. I was like, where's Dom? And I felt like the announcer goes, well, there's no Dom. I was like, this is like back in the day when Vince would scream at us and go, cover it, cover the mistake, cover the mistake. Clearly, Lillian made a mistake, or somebody didn't tell her that he wasn't coming out. That could have happened, but that was a big mistake.
Yeah. If I was the floor manager, that would never happen, Coach. Never,
Not if you
ever.
were there, never.
It's
never.
probably the floor manager. And the other thing, she said her opening thing was New Day. She said she said container instead of contenders. And then she made another mistake with Rey Mysterio saying, here comes some other guy with that, but the guy wasn't even there. Come on. Look.
Hey, she's nervous, Tommy. She's nervous.
I get it.
Nervous.
I'm sorry.
They're agreeing with us in the chat. Tia says, I agree about Rhea. Justin says, Rhea is getting boring, but still I like her. And this is the tough thing. Tia says, thank Coach for saying the opinion Rhea out loud. That's why you come here, Tia. We're going to be honest about everybody. And Tommy, if you're going to be a superstar for multiple years, this doesn't work. You got to get to a point where the crowd says, man, I don't know what to expect all the time. I know what to expect with Rhea. And that tells me, okay, I can go get a sandwich. I can go get some chips. I can go do whatever. Because when I come back, she's still going to be standing in the ring going, and then, flipping. And so I need a little bit more. And it goes back on the writers. I was talking about Vince Russo, Tommy, on Coach and Bro Show, and the writers have got to get more creative. This goes on them. And when you get to January, this is why we harp so much on the length of time for these shows, that if you're having 6 hours of shows, you've got to write 6 hours of content. And Tommy, fans are smart. People that watch the show right here, they're very, very smart, and they want to be entertained. And entertainment to me in the wrestling business is being surprised. And that's hard to do week in and week out, isn't it?
It's the hardest thing to do, to write 6 hours of television and make it riveting and make it change and make it be different. I feel really bad for these writers doing this, and it is not an easy job to do. But you get the help of the superstars, and I agree, man. They need to change Ripley up, change it up a little. Like you said, it's the same thing every week, and people get up and change the channel, watch Monday Night Football, or I'll come back when something else is going on. And that's a bad thing in the TV world.
It really is. It really is. The other thing, when you talk about Judgment Day, I know they're trying to move Damian Priest on from them. So they have the pre-tape with him and Gunther.
Yes.
And in classic entertaining Gunther style, he has Damian Priest do all the work. Then he goes, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. And so Damian Priest now is going to wait 2 weeks. He's going to earn it, Tom. He's going to earn it, his shot back. So he's got to wait for Cody and Gunther, because no matter who wins in Saudi Arabia, there's a special title for that. So he's still going to be the heavyweight champion when he comes back.
Right.
But do you like how they're positioning Damian Priest now to go back and chase Gunther and a title that he should have been chasing 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yes, I do. I like them breaking him away from Rhea Ripley. I like him going after Gunther, because eventually I want to see him become the damn champ again. I don't think he got a long enough shot of having the championship. And we all know Gunther's not bringing it up to the next level. We see it every week, and everybody in this chat agrees with us, but WWE Creative, they don't agree with us. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And in hell, at Crown Jewel, he's not getting that championship. He is not getting it. I'm sorry, folks. He's not getting it.
Do you think that, let me ask it to you this way. Who does that? It's only going to be a championship that's fought for in Saudi Arabia. So does it help Cody more? Because if they allow Gunther to pin Cody clean in Saudi Arabia, I don't think there's any world that makes sense, because you've got to keep Cody on top. You've got to have the perception. He's the guy. He's making the money. He's got the bus. By the way, did you see his wife give everybody a tour of that bus the other day?
Yeah.
Did you see it? He's making a lot of money, Tom.
Yeah.
That brother is making a lot of money,
yes,
right? So he's going to continue to be the guy. I almost can already predict it's going to be a disqualification. What else are you going to do? Because if one guy, I guarantee is sitting in that meeting, they're going to be like, well, if I lose, it hurts me over here. Well, if I lose, it hurts me over here. It's not real, guys. It's not real.
Right.
Use the finish to lead to something else. Right. But too many guys, I've been in the room with big stars who get caught up in the wins and the losses, and this is going to hurt my character. People forget. They move on. If you're good enough creatively, they will move on. And I don't know that, and user says Cody needs to win. He's desperately hanging on to the bloodline. He needs something. That's actually a pretty good take, Tommy, because the bloodline is moving on without him. It's almost like he's a man without an island when it comes to a big-time storyline, and they're giving him Gunther. And to me, that's where storylines and stars go to die.
Yeah. Where's he going after Gunther? All right. Crown Jewel happens. Then we're going to have Survivor Series. So who's he going to put his title up at Survivor Series? They have nothing cooking right now. There's nothing cooking for him. It's all about Gunther right now. And God forbid if Gunther beat him 1, 2, 3, that would kill his credibility. Unbelievable. I would flip out. I'm serious. That could never, ever happen. It will kill Cody, where you just had him at WrestleMania pin the OTC and beat him clean. And now you're going to have Gunther, Mr. Boring, beat Cody at Crown Jewel? No way. No way.
Everybody write in the chat right now if you love when Tommy gets hot, because I do. I love Tommy's beef. I love when Tommy gets pissed. We got some really smart people watching the show right now. User says, character is king. If you're strong enough, you can take losses if you're good enough. That's a great line. Just think back, Tommy, to my run as a tag team champion of the world. I mean, I lost a couple of times. Didn't affect my title run. I even took it north of the border, Tommy.
Nope.
I was in Winnipeg. I looked Chris Jericho in the eye. I said, you can't take this. You can't take this from your boy. I suffered the losses, and I was still standing strong.
Yep.
Who you talking to?
Yep.
GST says, I love Hot Tommy. They love it. I love Big C's little Al says. Nick says, Cody is being outshined by the bloodline. He peaked during the Mania buildup. Nick, I don't disagree with that, but it's not necessarily his fault.
No.
You got to understand, this guy's on a $10 million plus deal. I've heard he's making around $15 million, which in the world of wrestling is a gigantic contract. And he can only do what the writers tell him to do, right, Tommy?
Yes.
That's all he can do.
Yes. He can only do what he can make a suggestion. I mean, I would love to see Randy Orton go up against him. I think Randy eventually, somewhere down the line, like he's in cahoots here with Kevin Owens, what's going on with all of them right now. And I think Randy may come out as the bigger heel. I mentioned that before. And I think it'd be a great move. He's swerving and turns on Cody, man. And there's your next title match. And that would be a good match. 2 veterans, family, Rhodes, Orton. Great.
All right. So what about this? So Tia says, I would rather Gunther win since Cody seems to win each match. It's expected for Cody to win. What if, Tommy, we do a combo of your thought with Randy Orton? He somehow shows up at the Crown Jewel. He gets in the mix in this match. He helps Gunther. And then he says, Gunther, you go do your thing. I want to go after Cody. And that will get in the crawl because Cody, as his character, will be so pissed off that he lost the very first, what is it called? Super heavyweight Crown Jewel champion, whatever it's called.
Crown Jewel championship.
His ego should want to win everything that's put in front of him. And if you cost him that, now write some really good promos. Give me something that I can sink my teeth into with Randy and Cody now moving into Survivor Series. which I don't know if they're going to be on a team at Survivor Series or not. Do you know how many?
Yeah.
Do you know how many teams they do in today's Survivor Series?
Know. Maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Those matches are really long. You can't do more than like 2. Wake up, Tommy! Wake up!
Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
You are hilarious.
Here's the other thing. Cody wants. I mean, he is sharp, right? I mean, the man dresses like $1 million. He wants to be the first-time Crown Jewel champ, right? Everybody wants that. He wants that.
Yes.
It helps him. It helps his ego. He needs it. He definitely needs it.
Robbie says the sit-down interview with Orton and Cody was great. Use that to fuel the story as well. Robbie, I like that idea also. And Tommy, during that that tour of the bus, his wife said that he opened up his closet. And I get a little bit jealous because over the years I've had, really good career. But guys that are super put together, that keep their suits nice, I get so jealous, the gorgeous wife and the whole deal. Yeah. And so she opened up the closet and every suit is perfect. Every shirt is perfect. And then she complains. She goes, yeah, I pay thousands of dollars for these suits. I picked them out, she said. And he goes out and he lets guys like The Rock destroy them next to the bus. And I wanted to say it's because of those beatdowns that you can afford those expensive suits, because those are extra money. For everybody that doesn't know in the world of wrestling, when you do one of those things, at least it always has been this way, they throw you a little extra. They throw you a little bonus. They go, oh, well, you ruined a suit or you took a beat down on concrete. Something that's out of the ordinary, they'll put a little something extra in your check. You know what I mean, Tommy?
Yes. And by the way, Brandy, the guy that's ruining his suit is the one that's making him the money he makes today to buy those custom-made suits. Okay?
All right.
Just a little reminder.
Just a little reminder. So we're talking about, Tommy, about the future of Raw, the current state of Raw, how it's going to continue. And a lot of people would say it's the best that's ever been. So I want to bring up, if people haven't seen this, Kevin Nash, he's one of my favorites, part of the Clique, super tight with Triple H. And if you saw part of the documentary back in the 90s, they did something that officially pissed Vince off. And it cost Triple H at that time in a major, major way. He went on his podcast this week, and he said something that really kind of shocked me, Tommy. And I want everybody to listen to this, and then I want your reaction. Here's Kevin Nash on his podcast.
As soon as he got his hands on the controls, changed, and it was the product became, I mean, it just was night and day. And then, Vince almost tried to kibosh it, and they went through all that again. And then I think at that point, if it wouldn't have went the way it did, I think Paul would have walked. I think Steph already had. I don't think that. Yeah, I
had Vince stayed and taken creative back.
I have a few. I mean, we never had the conversation, but I know Paul. I just think that it was like, have talked to Paul about some other things. I mean, I know some information things that made me feel really good when I heard, how they felt, Endeavor, how they felt about Paul.
All right. Very interesting there. So basically, in a nutshell, he believes if Vince would have stayed, would not have been pushed out the second time, that Triple H would have left right after Stephanie did. But now, apparently, behind the scenes, the people at TKO, at Endeavor, are very happy with the job that Triple H is doing. What did you make of what Kevin Nash said about his good buddy?
I mean, they're tight and they're close. He knows a lot of things, but why would Triple H want to leave WWE, the number one company in the pro wrestling business, when he knows someday that the chairman's going to retire or something like that? I know he came back, but I can't see Triple H leaving and going to AEW, and he's not going to have any control at all. At least that's his father-in-law over there. He's going to get more stuff to work at. So I don't necessarily, unless Kevin Nash is not coming out with the whole story, I can't believe Triple H would just walk away because Vince took over again. He took a lot of crap from Vince as one of the boys, right? And now that he came back to run the thing after Triple H ran, I'm sorry, Coach, and I could be wrong. I don't think Triple H would have left.
I've got to severely disagree with you on this one, Tommy, because if you really read into what Kevin Nash said, he said if Vince would not have left, it got so bad for Stephanie. Well, first bad for Shane. Then years later, Stephanie, who's just like her father, who a million times backstage we would look at and say she's going to be the one that takes over because she's just like him. She walked away, and that spoke volumes to me. He had millions, gazillions of dollars. I don't know what kind of stock that he has, but I think he would have walked away banking on that if Vince gets pushed out at some point or quits at some point, that he could be brought back. That's kind of what I think Kevin says, because it must have been getting so bad, Tommy, that Triple H couldn't say anything. And also remember this: what did Vince hate the most when it came to Triple H? He hated something new that people liked that wasn't his idea. Vince hated something working that wasn't his idea. Triple H came up with NXT. And you notice NXT stars would never be pushed. Now what do you see? What did you see tonight on Monday Night Raw?
Yep.
You're seeing NXT stars all over the place. Yeah. That's Triple H. That's his baby. His best friend, Shawn Michaels, runs NXT. Vince hated that. And that was one of the weak points of Vince McMahon, is that he, as much as he says, Tommy, I did things that were good for business.
Yep.
If he came up with the idea, should have been the complete sentence of that, because he didn't want to give anybody credit, much less his son-in-law, so people would think potentially Triple H is smarter than him.
Oh,
that's why I think that there is some truth to this. I really, really do. I think he would have walked away. He would have settled outside, and he would have waited. Because also, Tommy, let's remember, there was so much going on. So much was being said. And being so close to it, I think it would have been a calculated gamble. I really do. I hear Barker says, whoop that trick. There's so much talent in NXT. I don't know why they're just sitting in there on Wednesday nights. Go ahead, Tommy.
So just to combat that, I'm not going to belabor this whole thing. So you think Triple H would leave and not go to the competition? He would just lay out and stay home until the old man screwed up again, and then Mark Shapiro and Ari would bring Triple H back to run the show again?
I do.
Oh,
Or he just would have gone and ran NXT, and then he wouldn't even have touched Vince. You know what I mean? Remember, he had a heart attack. He almost died.
Yes, I know that. Yep.
So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I think the stress of sitting next to Vince, because Tommy, when you make that much money, when you're a multi-gazillionaire, it becomes about ego and no longer about money. Triple H is making $10-15 million a year for the last 20 years. He's got a ton of money, but the ego.
It's a great point.
You know, so it's gonna be interesting. I can't help but think about this, because we were on Piers Morgan last week, and by the way, for those people who were watching, thank you. We were trending, Tommy, #1 in America at that time slot. Thank you very much. Me, Vince, Maven, Charlie. By the way, did Charlie say anything that entire show? I can't remember. But anyway, it was supposed to be to talk about Vince and to talk about how he was portrayed in the documentary. And I'm sure you watched it.
I did.
They bring on Phil Mushnick. And that dude is about 30 years past his prime. He didn't have anything ready for us. And Vince Russo, literally, his head was exploding. What did you make of the whole show?
I thought you guys threw shit in his face that he couldn't handle. My other question is to you, did Pierce pull a fast one, you guys? Or did he smarten you up before the show and say Mushnick was coming on?
What do you think?
I think he told you guys.
They told me, and this is what I appreciated about them. They said, we like to consider ourselves the WWE of talk shows. And so I said, what do you have planned? And they said, what do you make of Phil Mushnick? And I told him everything I said on the show. I told to their producer. But here's the one thing I want people to understand, Tommy, that I would have been fine having a conversation with Phil Mushnick. I remember when I started, this dude was making his living writing bash pieces about Vince and the WWE. And if you're going to be a journalist, then you've got to tell the truth or look at it from both sides. And like I said on the show, there was a lot of good. Tommy, you're married to a woman that you guys worked together for 30 years. That's good. Your kids both work for the WWE. That's good. I have 2 kids because I met somebody during my that's good. And that's all I wanted him to understand is that, yes, there was a lot of negative. And I think he thought we were there to defend Vince. We were not. None of us were.
And I think he thought you guys were idiots. I think in his mind, he was above you guys and smarter. And when you laid shit out to him and Vince Russo laid stuff, he started calling Vince a moron. I'm like, listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He brought nothing to the table but the same bullshit he said 25 years ago.
And that's why I asked him. I said, do you have any arguments after 1999? Remember when I said that?
Yep.
Because at some point, Tommy, you've got to understand no matter what the business is, and for everybody watching right now, when you're at the height of any business, which me and Tommy were for a very, very long time, there's always going to be ups and downs. Tommy, there was steroid use in the NFL. In baseball, they had a whole 10 years of Sammy Sosa, and yet baseball's thriving more than ever. Things go up, things go down. So to have somebody who has a voice for a big New York newspaper to only be focused on those 2 things from 1992, and we're 32 years later, I just thought it was weak. I thought it was lazy, and I thought he was the same way 25 years ago, and he was. He was.
He had nothing new to say, and you guys hammered him. You guys were prepared, and you and Russo were the most prepared out of anybody because you were through it all, right? I mean, Maven wasn't part of it. Charlie wasn't even thought of back then. So you brought it to the table, and Vince, and I friggin' loved it, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was really, really, it was fun to do. And if somebody else calls me, because I was a little hesitant, to be honest, because there's been a lot of different, the documentary and all that. But I think I will continue to do them because, I think there needs to be a fair voice about that time and about the business. And the business is at the highest it's ever been. But I think I was there during the best time. I don't think right now is the best time. I think they're making the most money.
Yes.
But I don't think it's the best time. So they have a lot of work to do. Really good reactions in the chat. Thank you guys very much for that. All right, Tommy. We only like to go like 30 to 40 minutes. Anything else tonight that stuck out to you on Monday Night Raw, other than the fact that they continue to throw tag team matches out there? And Joe just gave us a tip, Tommy.
Yeah.
So we got to read that. So we've been told we got to read those if they give us a tip.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it's done. Joe, thank you. You got to teach me how to do it. He says, I'm excited to see Lillian Garcia back on WWE TV. Coach, do you have any good Lillian Garcia stories from her first run in the company? Keep up the great work. So, Tommy, 1 year, you'll remember this. Vince thought it would be a great idea to get a float in the Macy's Day Parade. Okay? But you can't just buy 1 year. You got to buy a 2-year contract. And they're about $250,000 to have a float in the parade. So I'm told on Tuesday, because Michael Cole didn't want to be on Thanksgiving. And I'm going back to Kansas. Yep. And I was told, Coach, you got to go in and ride on the float. And it's going to be Kurt Angle. It's going to be Lillian. It's going to be Vince. It's going to be. And I said, no, I'm flying to. No, we'll change your ticket. I said, no, I want to go see my family. We're not asking. We're kind of telling you. So I decide to go in, Tommy, and I just get lit up like a Christmas tree. And it is Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, which, Tommy, back when you're in your 20s, it's the best night of the year to go out. Yep. There's no better year. So I'm at the Regal Royal Hotel. And so we go out, and I'm having a blast. And I may or may not have met a few people along the way. You know what I mean? So now I find myself at kind of an after-hours joint, and I look down on my watch, sort of, and I realize it's 6 a.m.
Oh.
And now I've got to get back to my hotel. We're meeting for breakfast at 7 a.m. So I'm in a cab, and I'm looking, and I'm trying to get across Manhattan. I'm going. It's about 6:40. I get out of the cab. I'm walking one way. Who gets out of his limo coming the exact other way? Vince.
Chairman.
The chairman. So I get in, and of course I've been up. Let's say I was drinking, and I walk in, and so I know that I'm not going to get on the elevator before he comes in. And those really nice hotels, they've got the panel of elevators behind. So I quickly run behind, and as soon as he walks around, I act like I'm walking off the elevator. Oh, Mr. McMahon, there you're at. And I had to because this is back in the day, you could smoke in clubs,
Yeah.
which I hated. I had to like reek of smoke.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he goes, hey coach, where's the breakfast at? They told us we're meeting on the second line. I go, yeah. I said, I actually went down too far. I forgot my stuff. I'll meet you there, Vince. I take him back up, drop him off. I kid you not. And then I go back up to my room to shower real quick.
Yeah.
So now I'm up all night, no sleep, can barely walk straight. And I still have to pack my bags, put them in a car because I'm going straight to the airport after the parade. So we go down. We're standing in the lobby of the hotel. These two black men walk up, and Vince always kind of used me as a buffer. Remember, he liked to have me. Remember, he used to like to have me in between him and the public.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know I'll get to the Lillian Garcia part of the story in a second. And so I'm standing there. They come up. They go, Mr. McMahon, it's great to see you again. They were so nice. And Vince goes, boys, great to see you too. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great day. And they turn around and walk. They were so excited, act like he remembered who they were.
Yeah.
He's like, wait for it. Coach, who the hell was that? I said, Vince, those were two members of Boys to Men. They sang the national anthem last year for you. It's at WrestleMania. He goes, oh, yeah, of course. I knew that. I knew that. And at that point, Lillian Garcia was singing the national anthem every freaking night, every arena. We're backstage. We're cringing every time. Let's go. Oh, my God. And then she put out a CD. So now she's trying to become a pop star at 42 years of age. So we get in the limousines, we get over, and now, Tommy, you know when you've been up all night, it's now like 8:30, 9 in the morning, the sun's shining, and you're like, oh, God, death would feel better than this.
Yeah.
We get on to the float. There is a band behind us, a band in front of us, and they're just tuning up the horns, just waiting, and I'm literally losing my mind. And then they tell me, hey, coach, every 3 blocks, we have a recording of Lillian's new single. And she's gonna lip sync it. And every 3 blocks, it will restart. And I said to her, we always had like a handler. I said, so you're telling me that I've got to listen to Lillian Garcia sing this new damn single for the next 2 hours, like 30 times? He goes, yeah, that's what we were planning because, you know, they can only hear it for 3 blocks.
Oh,
Tommy, I kid you not. I almost pushed her off the float. I'm kidding you not. By the 3rd or 4th time that she was going through this song, my head was pounding. I couldn't. You know how like sometimes your body you'll jump and you'll like flick like that because you haven't been to bed. That's what I was doing. And then she would start over again. And of course, she's in her glory. She's in New York City. I've got a new single out. Hello, New York. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Tommy. Oh. And I think that single hit like 241 on the Billboard charts, I think, is this how high it got.
241. Not even 240.
Oh my God.
So,
it got so bad. Yeah, go ahead.
So here you are. You get in at 6, right? You're half in bag, you take a shower, you come down, you're on the float, you have no sleep, right? You have the chairman there with you, no sleep, and then you got her singing every 3 blocks.
Yes. Oh my God. And I've actually had people over the years send me video of it. And remember I used to wear black leather jackets all the time. I just think I was the shits, right?
Yeah.
Or the shit. And I remember people would send me, they go, Coach, what was the matter? I mean, this is Thanksgiving. You got to be loving life. And I'd be like, you guys have no idea.
Oh my God.
have no idea. And if Joe says, poor coach, it is all love for Lillian, though, and not from my head. Marcus says, Coach, remember that song till this day? Oh, God, I do. And Tommy, you know how like tonight, I don't know if people saw it on social media, she came out and she does this.
Yes.
I love Bill. She always used to do that. Like the hook 'em horns and the
yeah.
But I'm like, where's Samantha Irvin? Bring her back. It's not too late. No,
God.
Tommy, she might be the only person to ever be brought back 25 years later for the same job. For the same job.
That's crazy.
My God.
Man. What a
Danny
story.
says, I just watched Coach's interview with Chris Van Vliet. Coach is straight spitting facts. My stories, thank you, Danny. Our stories are too good to make them up.
Yeah.
They're funny in real time. I'm telling you, everything that I'm telling you is the God honest truth.
Yep.
And then I've told you this, what happened at the end of that story is meeting the guy who was in Barney.
That's right.
Late that night at 12:30. Yeah. He told me he would make over $10 million a year at his height. Think about it. The guy who was inside the Barney costume would make over, because he was starting in the TV show and it was syndicated. He said at his height, $10 million a year for dancing around like Barney. Can you imagine, Tommy? I would dance around like anybody for $10 million a year.
Yes.
Anybody.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's a great story. That's a great Lillian story. Oh my God.
Oh God. Lillian Garcia.
Only you.
We were in one of those Canadian towns, and God bless her. She's actually a very sweet person.
Yeah, she is.
It's just when you're trying to become a singing star, you do whatever you have to do, which means you push your music. You have to, because nobody else is going to do. You know, you look now, you got people that are having hit singles just by releasing them on Instagram. Yep. Can you imagine if we would have had Instagram back then? Oh, man. Holy smokes. I would have quit. Yep. I would have quit. I'd be like, I can't take it. I absolutely can't take it. Oh, my God. Dee Dee says, did you see Brock versus Mr. Perfect? Are you asking about the WWE Flight from Hell? Because if you are, we're going to do a show on the entire thing. Yes, not only was I there, I was so close to the fight. I'll give you this little tease, Tom, and then we're going to get out of here. I was so close, DD, to that fight that I took Brock's elbow to my head as they started to fight on the airplane when we all thought we were going to die. And I had a hematoma that stuck out about 2 inches, Tommy, out of my head from Brock Lesnar's elbow at the start of that fight. True story.
Mm-hmm.
True story. Micah says, Coach, what's up? I wanted to get your thoughts on who would want to see Jacob Fatu feud with. Tell you what, Micah, we'll talk about that next week because the show's over. Got here a little bit late. But, Tommy, real quick, give me a name or two, then we'll go more in depth with that next week. Jacob Fatu, who you and I both love. It's pretty obvious to me it's probably going to be Bron Breaker.
That's what I was going to say. Bron Breaker.
Yeah.
Yep. Bron.
I think so, too.
I would love that.
Yeah. Marcus says, this is a solid pod, loving the content. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Nate says, did you ever try to wrestle Kurt Angle? No, but one day this happened. I'm giving all the good stories tonight. Yeah. One time, Brock Lesnar was brand new. And I'm telling you guys, try to imagine the scariest individual you could ever be around and times it by 10. That's Brock Lesnar. But Kurt Angle was an Olympic champion. And Kurt Angle, as I said in the Van Vliet interview, Tommy, is the greatest talent I've ever seen. When you talk about total talent, Brock started talking trash out at the ring. We're hanging out during the day, and somebody asked him, "Can you stretch everybody?" He was a monster when he came out, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
He's like, "I can beat anybody," and they're like, "Even Kurt?" Yeah, even Kurt. We were like high school children back then. If you said something, somebody was going to go get somebody, and that usually somebody was me. So I go, and Kurt's in catering. I go, hey, Kurt, they sent me out here. Here's what Brock just said. Kurt literally is like playing dominoes, doesn't even finish, just puts his domino down, gets up, walks straight out to the ring, and commenced to, let's say, grapple with Brock Lesnar in the ring. And it was something to behold. These guys are built different. Yes. Brock Lesnar is the scariest human being. Kurt's not scary. He was just really tough at the time.
Yeah.
Tough as nails. You know, unfortunately he's got a lot of neck issues now, but Brock is one of those guys, if you imagine death, that's the kind of person that you could imagine death with.
Yep.
It's no joke. It is no joke.
Nope.
Kurt beat Brock in grappling, Justin said. You've heard the story. I was there. It's true.
Yep.
He did.
It's
He did.
damn true.
It's damn true.
Yep.
All right. Tell all your friends we're here every single Monday night around 10 p.m. Eastern. If you miss it, you can watch us on demand at our YouTube channel. Do not forget, we were presented, as always, by mybookie.ag. We give you, for new customers, 100% sign-up bonus up to $1,000. And do not forget, you have one final chance tonight to sign up for the Undisputed giveaway. We're giving away one copy on PS5, one copy on Xbox of the brand new boxing video game. That includes Muhammad Ali, who is a part of WrestleMania 1. You can play him in the game if you are a big winner through us. All right, that'll do it. Remember, we drop new content also on our YouTube page every single Friday. We usually do a 10 to 15-minute segment. We don't do these hour-long shows. Only Monday nights do we do like 30 to 45 minutes because we're thinking about you. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us. We continue to grow every single week. And we've got big platforms coming. The next couple of weeks, we've got some big announcements for all of you, so stay tuned for that. For Big Tommy C, for Producer Man, for our intern Dan, I'm the coach. We'll see you next week right here on The Last Word.
Has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus. New Pod Order.